So I have made an administrative decision about our timeline. It is the 7th of April, and we had some difficulties with access in virtual systems. And what we wanted to do was to give everyone a chance to refresh the trail about APHIS, the Association for Endangered Species. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
And we only had a limited number of students who did not have the benefit of the APHIS solution at the end of Intro to Cyber 220 last season. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So rather than, when I look at the timeline and I look at the adjustments we've needed to make, the logistical adjustments we've needed to make, it is clear to me that having quick and constant access to the APHIS systems will be very important as you work through acquisition and the initial stages of analysis, right? And what I would like to do is adjust the submissions that are expected. We're going to drop the additional solution where people repeat the same activities that we did in Intro to Cyber 220. Now that said, we're going to make those references and materials available. What am I saying? Inside the resources folder, I will post the APHIS documents, right? So that everybody can refresh their memory about the context, because context is going to be very important. Remember that stage one of incident handling and digital evidence collection and preservation, stage one occurs physically and typically on site, right? And then you have a locker. If everything goes well, you have a locker full of digital evidence. And you also have a record of the context, right? So you remember, oh, when I got on this screen, there were so many tabs that were exposed in the browser. Oh, there was some kind of BitTorrent client that was minimized on the taskbar. Does everybody understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. And for the most part, for the previous classes, the previous two classes, we have reviewed a good bit of that, yes? So we've kind of refreshed the trail by sharing screens and viewing access, remote access, and you will continue to have remote access to that environment. We did resolve some display issues as well, so that the screen doesn't like automatically adjust. But what we're going to do is leave the pair of virtual systems intact with your access on tap, so that you can reference this for additional context. All right. So we're going to move forward with the understanding that stage one, incident handling and evidence collection, is now complete. I'm declaring that right now, okay? But the resources and the evidence, the relevant evidence is going to be in a separate folder here, okay? And we'll call it stage one materials and data, okay? So inside the resources folder, what I'm going to do is move that material into that folder, so that as needed, as you're doing the other stuff for the next stage here, you can you can quickly connect to the remote machine and kind of walk through memory lane, have a stroll down memory lane, so to speak, right? A second round of resources for additional context is the materials that were collected during the stage 1 in the resources folder. And what I want you to do instead at this point is to focus on stage 2 data acquisition. Okay. So is everyone clear about how we're adjusting our submissions and our milestones?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions at this point? Now, if you did not have me for Intro to Cyber, and you would like to set a time to walk through the screens and review the AFIS resources, just to make sure you have left no stone unturned, that's something that you can do. But given our review to date, I think we're in a good place. We talked about alternate data streams. Does everybody remember alternate data streams?
So, yeah.
And can anyone describe for me, just as a review, quick explanation of what alternate data streams do? Based on the previous session that we had.
It's a way to capture, if I'm recalling correctly, so to capture live memory without actually disrupting it.
Your audio was a little more garbled. Can you repeat that again?
It's a way to capture like active memory from a machine without actually disturbing it, like interacting with it.
Yeah, that would have to do with live memory analysis. So that would be something different. Would anyone else care to offer a quick explanation of, I'll refresh everyone's memory. I had 2 applications, one that was very much larger than the other. I had a small exe, calculator.exe, right? And then I had paint, which was a much larger exe. We were going to go ahead and walk through a demo to show you how we can do what with those 2 files. What's the end result? Or what is it like? Okay, when you have steganography, you're hiding data inside a graphics image, a picture, yeah? You can hide a malicious program and actually run it embedded inside a larger program. Okay, so you can kind of fold or direct the data stream for one application so that it's embedded inside another, right? So it's a way of hiding malware. It appears to be paint, but now paint is somehow larger. And that's because paint has a payload. Calculator is embedded inside paint. And you can actually perform these steps and result with a different executable where calculator is loaded and it's running, and you can see it in the task manager actually, right? And if with certain quick diagnostics, you can display that. The problem is that malicious actors, they use this. When you look at the task list, what you mainly see is paint, and you have to dig a little further to find out, oh, wait a minute, there's something else running in here. It's hidden or embedded inside, okay? Everybody clear on that?
Yep.
Okay. To make sure we're clear on that, what I want to do is walk through something here, just to be a little bit more specific, okay? So ADS was developed by Microsoft to ensure Mac OS compatibility. Believe it or not, there was a good reason why alternate data streams was developed. It was intentionally developed for a constructive purpose. Just like the dark web and Tor, the onion ring, right, was developed by the research laboratories of the United States Navy. And it was designed for a peaceful and constructive purpose. Now it's used for something like wicked and evil. Okay, I was just trying to be a little lighthearted there. In any case, in the Mac world or in the Linux world, it's known by another name instead of alternate data streams. Does anyone recall what the term was for Mac or Linux manifestations of the same idea? Think devil. I'm going to help you deep process here. What do you often see the devil? What do you often picture the devil with? And what does he have in his hand?
Is it fork?
A fork, right? So remember, I'm going to help you deep process. Right? Let's do a little bit of that. Remember the devil, remember malicious, remember bad, and then remember the fork, resource fork, okay? Resource fork. Many who want to hide data use it to obscure directory listings. So you don't want a malware application, you don't want malware, malicious software to appear in a directory listing. So what do? You fold it inside another program. The process is simple to perform using basic commands. Only special tools reveal ADS use in an older, older operating system. In the current Windows version, the R option, /R option of dir lists the ADS uses. So when you include that switch in a directory listing, it pops out, right? This is what we're talking about. Now, there is a space between the dir statement command and the /R. Any questions so far? Okay, so to perform ADS and then reveal ADS, what we're going to do is walk through the process. And this is what I want you to revisit. We're going to post this recording right online as soon as we're done. And I want you to replay this when you complete 3.1 assignment. And it must be completed by 11:59 p.m. Saturday, this Saturday. Okay, so while the trail is fresh, I want you to do this. You're going to open a command prompt using run as admin. Any questions about that? Does everybody know what I mean by run as admin?
Yeah.
Okay, now you're going to right click it or you're going to pull it up and then there's an option to run as admin off the start menu. You're going to create a temp directory of your C drive to keep things simple, right? That's what you're going to do. You're going to keep things simple that way. Good morning, Tamara. How are you? And let's make sure she's in the mix so she doesn't miss this, because this is where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. Hello, Tamara.
Is she in the room?
Yeah, she is kind of, sort of. Okay. She's trying. Been a lot of issues. Did everybody see the emails I sent?
Yes.
You did see this, right?
Mhm.
All right. Everybody knows that what I sent was serious, right? So just a quick aside, and I really do need to do this much at least. Shamira, are you with us yet? Not quite. Still trying to join. Okay. Well, that's all right. She'll join eventually. So we do have a semi-global conflict playing out right now in the Ukraine. Yes. And Russia does not like people who ally themselves with Ukrainians at this point of the game. Both Russia and China have formidable cybersecurity offensive capabilities, and both have been caught red-handed using that. Well, so have we. We have also used our offensive or preemptive cybersecurity capabilities to impact the outcomes of a nation's history. In fact, the United States of America was the first to do it. We hid data. We actually hid data on a thumb drive that we gave to Iranian patriots who were working in a secret industrial plant to refine uranium so they could create their own nuclear weapons. This would disturb the delicate balance in the Middle East, and it's not any secret that there are many people in Iran that want to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. Well, Israel has strong ties to anything Judeo-Christian, right? So our nation carefully crafted some malware, and they embedded it inside a thumb drive that they gave through back channels for an alternate purpose. So the Iranian nationalists, the Iranian factory workers were not aware that there was bad stuff on those thumb drives, but they took them to work and they plugged them in to the PCs at work, and the PCs in that factory were not connected to the network at all. These were air-gapped PCs. The name of this exploit was called Stuxnet, S-T-U-X-N-E-T. It's a matter of history, and America was one of the first to use their cybersecurity knowledge, skills, and abilities to mess with other countries. In this case, we felt it was justified because they were close to getting some nuclear weapons on hand. So when the factory workers plugged in the USB drive, it caused the centrifuges to spin too fast, so fast that they flew apart. And these are like $10,000, they're like jet engines. They spin very fast and they separate the different isotopes of uranium that are processed from the ore in order to reach a certain concentration that's useful for building nuclear weapons. So we took down their ability to produce a nuclear weapon and delayed it by a couple of seasons. But there's a lot of national security experts that think Iran already has one or has already figured out how to, recover from that loss. This happened around 2010. So this is about 10, 12 years ago. But let's get back to this. So if you open Notepad, we want to create an anchor for the hidden data. Okay, so what we're going to do is create a data file using Notepad. We're going to use the colon character to create new data that is hidden. All right. We're going to list files to confirm hidden data will not show. We're going to use colon with the anchor file to access and use the hidden data. Okay. Now, in the scenario we talked about in our last session, we were talking about calculator and paint. All right. In this case, we're going to take another data file and we're going to hide it using ADS. And we're going to hide it inside another exe. So we're going to list the files using dir/r to reveal the hidden ADS data. And programs can be hidden in a similar fashion. Okay. So what we're going to do is use a data file and hide the data file first. That's what your assignment is, 3.1. That's what's due by the end of the week. Also, you must download your own copy of the disk image that was captured. So when we said that the first part of the AFI's stage 1 data acquisition has already been completed. Assignment 3.2 is simply getting that data on your system in a usable form so that you can work with it with your colleague, okay? We'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so you open, these are screenshots, right? Run as administrator. And then we change to the temp folder. Everybody with me?
Yeah.
So if you don't have a temp folder, now you don't have to do this step if you already have a temp folder. Okay. So once again, if you already have a temp folder, you do not have to create the temp folder. Then you're going to enter the command as shown. Notepad.exe space professor.text. Looks pretty innocent so far, yeah? This is a normal document that will provide the data file we will use as an anchor to hide another document using ADS. So we're creating professor.text, and it's the anchor within which something else is hidden, okay? We're going to enter the dir command as shown and see how the new file shows in the directory listing. So here's professor.txt. Any questions so far? Okay, enter the command as shown, answer yes to create new, then enter text as shown. Close and save. Now, notice the command is different. Notepad.exe, professor.text, hidden data.text. So we have two data files. The first one is the anchor file or base file, professor.text. We're going to create hidden data.txt. As soon as you hit enter, this is what's going to happen. It's going to open up Notepad. You're going to see professor.text hidden data.txt. And you're going to type in this new data file is created with an alternate data stream. So it is anchored to the known data file. It means the file system, when you pull a directory, it's going to see professor.txt. It's not going to see hidden data.txt. It's not going to see the content of hidden data.txt. If you use the cat command, cat space hidden data.txt from a plain directory prompt, from a plain command prompt, it's going to go, I don't know what you're talking about. Once you save that and you pull a directory, what you notice is that there is no hidden data.txt. Right? Everybody with me? Now you're going to say enter the dir command as shown and see how the original file contains the original text first entered. Okay? So what are we validating? It doesn't show in the directory listing. Does that affect, does using ADS to hide another file, does that like alter the content of the original professor.txt? What do you see? Isn't this the same professor.txt notepad file? Yeah. I need an amen, somebody. Are you still with us?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now if you enter the notepad command at the bottom, it can't find hidden data.txt. It even asks you if you would like to create another one with the same name, even though one already exists. We know that there's one already in there, but it's going to say, hey, do you want to create a new one? You're going to answer no. You don't want to create a new one. It's already there. Now enter the command as shown and see how the hidden data file opens and reveals its hidden content. Okay. Now enter the dir / command as shown and see how the hidden file shows now in the directory listing. I call your attention to this matter right here. Not only do you see the colon and then the hidden file, but you have this little gizmo at the end, $DATA. That's a telltale sign ADS was used to hide data. If you say $data and then more than one data file with a colon separating it, that is plain. I mean, you got it. You've nailed it. Okay, it's like, okay, now I have proof that there's alternate data streams that have been implemented here, and somebody's doing some really crazy stuff to hide data, right? Now, you're going to redirect and use the colon to hide malicious programs, okay? This is an example only. Do not use actual Windows programs in their original location to try this, as you may corrupt the original executable. A copy of Notepad.exe was moved to C:temp to demonstrate how this works. Okay. You can use the command type ctemp malicious.exe. So what am I saying? Everybody remembers calc.exe? The calculator.exe? Yes?
Mhm.
Very small file, right? Okay. If I renamed calculator.exe malicious.exe, just to simulate, okay, this is malware, right? So let's pretend that I have a copy of calculator.exe in my temp folder. And I change the name of calculator.exe and I change it to make it malicious.exe. Okay. So I'm not using the original, I'm using a copy. Then I have a copy of Notepad that was moved from its original, well, it's copied from its original location in the Windows folder. And I put that in the temp directory because I don't want to corrupt the real one. When I use the redirect symbol and then say ctemp notepad exe colon malicious exe, what I end up with is malicious.exe, notepad.exe, and professor.exe when I pull a directory. Because calc.exe, I renamed it. That's why that's still showing. What you don't see is what happens to Notepad, right? Notepad changes the signature, the digital signature of Notepad changes because that renamed calc.exe, malicious.exe, is embedded inside Notepad. Okay, now you can do this, and I want you to notice if you say start space ctemp notepad.exe malicious.exe, what will happen? What will happen is that calculator will open. Because if you change the name of malicious, calculator.exe, if you change the name of an executable to something else, sometimes you have to recompile or you have to do different things depending on how the software is created. But a lot of times you can just rename something and it'll still execute. You do understand what I'm saying, yes? If it's a very simple program, you can just rename the program and you don't have to recompile. Does everybody know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there are basic cases where that's true. There are also complex cases where you have to kind of recompile everything. All right. Now, what you see here when you do the dir/r is that notepad.exe, malicious.exe, there's your $sign. That's the money. That's where the cheddar is right here. $sign data. That's your telltale sign that ADS has been used, right? And then because we've already embedded hidden data.txt inside professor.txt, you also see that. Okay. Are there any questions about what we've just shared?
For me.
Okay, so why do we just walk through that? Because I want you to do this. I want you to read this information, and I want you to perform the same steps shown in the walkthrough, except substitute your own first name for Mike, right? So instead of, well, all right, instead of professor, use your own name. Well, I guess what I mean is your own name instead of professor. Sorry, let me change that. Don't want to confuse people. Your own name for professor. Okay. Now, do you have to do the executable? No. If you want to do it for additional credit, you can. Any questions?
No, I don't have any.
Okay. Now, what's also due by 11:59 p.m. Saturday, right? If you go inside the resources folder, inside assignments, solutions, and then review item 3 and 4, use the associated web links to complete the following tasks. You're going to download the file used for the simulated USB drive. What are we saying? We have provided, we're going to provide resources for the AFES stage 1 digital evidence collection. Okay. In order for you to have your own copy of that to use with your own Kali Linux, we're going to want you to go ahead and download that 1 gigabyte USB drive. Now, this is a 1 gig file. And when you download that file, it may take a while. We may have to put this in a Google Drive folder. We may have to put it on a OneDrive folder and share a link. We may have to, I mean, depending on Blackboard, we may not be able to work with Blackboard directly, but there may be a redirection or a link where you go somewhere else to download that USB. Okay. Now, Ftk Imager Lite is a free forensic software package. Okay. And you're going to download Ftk Imager Lite, and then after it's installed on your system, you're going to submit a screenshot, right? Including the hashes. This is the most important point. Okay. So when you look inside the resources folder, essentially what you're doing is you're performing 2 downloads, and you have to have these done by 11:59 p.m. Once you get the downloads, you're going to calculate a hash of the USB drive and the Ftk Imager Lite that you download, and it needs to match the reference. When you submit, you're going to have a screenshot showing that the hash, here's the hash for the USB file, and here's the hash for the Ftk Imager Lite. Now, what exactly are you going to do with this USB drive file? It's a simulation. It is a virtual hard disk that you use. Okay. So what am I saying? If I go to my ThinkPad and go into manage, on Tuesday, we're going to show you what to do with that file. You have to have it by start of class on Tuesday. Okay. Now, I also want you to start to prepare for your solution. Now, I want you to notice I put due 9 a.m. Tuesday of next week, right? And you're going to say, well, wait a minute now, if we're going to cover some of this stuff in class on Tuesday, how is it we're going to be able to do this? Well, I'm going to send you links to some videos, and I'm going to try to provide you with a preview of coming attractions so that you can, you may be able to follow it simply enough. It's like, okay, oh, I get this. What you're going to do is open File Explorer, right-click the name of your system, which is typically this PC. It's going to open up this screen. You're going to select Disk Management. And then what you're going to do is attach the VHD. You're going to browse to that USB.VHD. And it may be USB.VHD or it may be SanDisk.VHD. Can't remember which, but you're going to browse to it and connect to it, and you're going to check the read-only box. And this is what you're going to do as a part of your initial your stage 2 data acquisition. Okay. Put another way, you don't have a 1 gig physical thumb drive, but we're going to pretend that you do. When we create the connection by attaching the virtual hard disk to your system, it's going to appear to be a physical USB disk, and it's going to have a name, just like, and because it's digital evidence and it's original digital evidence, you don't want to corrupt it. So you have to prove that you selected the read-only option. Okay. You're going to see this when you get into the material and you start reading about what the tasks are. And when you watch the videos, it'll be very obvious, but I just wanted to show you on screen. Okay. Once you capture that you've attached it read only, that's kind of like plugging in a USB thumb drive with a write block. So it cannot be corrupted. Now you can use Ftk Imager Lite to create a forensically sound identical copy of the original to use for your forensic analysis. Remember Medea? I'm going to close on this point. Does everybody remember our thing about Medea?
Yeah.
Can you analyze original evidence?
Oh, hell no.
Hell no. Oh, hell no. Right. And I can't mimic Medea very effectively, but you get the point. So what's the second stage of acquisition? Well, you have the original data, you have the original digital evidence. And as a preparation stage for your analysis, you have to make copies, forensically sound copies, right? So you take the physical thumb drive, you'd use Ftk Imager Lite, and then you would capture or acquire a disk image. You're going to do it in 2 ways, right? So you're going to take that disk image, you're going to use Ftk Imager Lite, but you're also going to use a Linux program called Imager, okay? And when you get into the resources, you'll see the links to review and to watch. It's pretty cool stuff. Now, I want you to get this done before 11:59 p.m. Saturday. I want you to get both downloads done before 11:59 p.m. Saturday. And then I want you to start in on this so that we can review. I want you to share and to show how far this is coming along. Put another way, Tuesday is going to be an open workshop for us to walk through and help each other complete the data acquisition, stage 2 data acquisition. You want to be in a place where, hello, Ftk Imager is installed. Hello, you have a virtual machine with Kali Linux that you can use to access the hypothetical USB drive, right? You're going to generate 2 disk images in a forensically sound manner. This one is a commercial product. This one is open source. If you do your job correctly for the original digital evidence, with the original digital evidence, what can you say about the hash of your output here and the hash of your output there? If they both work correctly, what can you say about the hash of the forensically sound copy you create from Ftk Imager Lite and the forensically sound copy you create with Imager?
Shouldn't they be the same?
Say again?
Shouldn't they be the same?
They should be the same. They should be absolutely 100% flawlessly identical. And what's the difference? Nothing other than the fact that you used the free version of a commercial product they want you to become fond of so that you buy it. But we also want you to use the Kali-based open source tool. And if you are a competent digital forensics professional, you should be able to duplicate your results. Okay, so what am I saying? Okay, you may not have to have all this done by the start of class, but I want you to dig in and I want you to try to get one of these things done so that we can finish up shortly on Tuesday. And I want you close to being able to capture an image with the second tool. You could start with Imager if you want to do that. You can do the Ftk Imager first. It doesn't matter. But it would be nice. It would be wise. It would be good. We have Carnival coming up, yes? Let's be real here. Do we have Carnival coming up, yes or no?
I'm not sure. I'm actually I'm not from there. I don't know when the carnival is.
Well, we have a break for it. I'm guessing that if the campus is closed to give everyone a breather they would normally otherwise have for Carnival, I'm guessing you wouldn't want to be doing digital forensics in the middle of that. Would that be a fair assumption?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So please get one of these images captured, right? Dig in. And let's see if we can wrap up next Tuesday in a workshop. We're all going to collaborate. We're all going to share screens, right? And then we're going to have a drum roll. We'll actually have a celebration. We'll have a drum roll, generate your hash, do the match, score. Oh, we missed the goal. What happened, right? And we'll go back and we'll make sure everybody's in a good place. The ultimate goal being, okay, by the time we finish class on Tuesday, we're done and you're ready to start the analysis for the rest of the week. Okay? Everybody good? Any questions before we close? All right. Thank you for joining us. Please let me know if you have any problems or issues getting the first 2 assignments done before Saturday. And then as you start this, if you run into any snags or you find any missing gaps in the documentation or resources, give me a heads up. I'll pay a bounty for anybody who catch things that isn't in there. All right. We'll sign off for now. Have a great weekend and thank you for joining us.